of the proposal that's before us, and I think it would be appropriate to have Jennifer Wyatt provide an outline of what's under discussion, and then Mr. Ward could add to that, and then I think everyone would have a good idea of what we're actually talking about.
Actually, I think we'll start out if we could get a short presentation from Solid Waste to Willits. Would that be appropriate? And then the cost-benefit analysis from the CEO's office would follow up that. Yeah, I understand that. Okay. Jennifer?
Okay. In your packets, I provided a brief summary outline as well as a memorandum to highlight the proposal that you have. The Board of Supervisors was also provided the proposal presented by Solid Waste of Willits. The Executive Office has analyzed and prepared this fiscal cost-benefit analysis, which you have in your packets, for the privatization of 5 Mendocino County Division of Solid Waste Container Sites. The CEO has reviewed and approved recommendations in this analysis for board consideration. One of the key factors to consider in this proposal is the philosophy of privatization and the assumption that privatization of public operations is more cost-effective than publicly owned. In order to truly do an analysis on privatization and whether it benefits the consumers and the public and the county itself, as far as cost savings, we would have to further look at statistical data and continue to analyze financial statements from the privately owned business to determine whether or not we had a comparison between municipal services and private services. That is not provided in this cost-benefit analysis. The board has directed that the CEO's office do a fiscal analysis only on the proposal by Solid Waste of Willits, and that's what's provided today. So going forward, I've, in summary, kind of highlighted the key, the factors that were taken into consideration in this proposal. Solid Waste of Willits is proposing only to take over the operations of 2 sites only, the Boonville site and the South Coast site. This is in their franchise area. I have their refuse franchise service area. The other 3 sites that Solid Waste of Willits is proposing would be making the assumption that Empire Waste Management would be taking over the operation of those 3 sites. They have provided in their analysis thorough numbers of a pro forma statement as to what those assumptions would be and what those numbers would look like as it pertains to the operation of taking over those 5 sites. To date, I provided to you in one of your exhibits a memo to our CEO from Waste Management stating that they would be happy to provide an analysis for cost of taking over those 3 sites pending board direction today. They did not put it into the packet, and that information would have to be provided at a later date. Further, Mendocino Solid Waste Authority has communicated and replied and given me some comments as to this proposal today. And it just could be said that Mr. Sweeney, who cannot be here today, has asked that I relay some of the information that he has given to me, which I already, in fact, have provided in the cost analysis that you have before you. So, in summary, his responses and his comments to this this proposal today are very closely related and similar to what I've already got in the analysis. So with this assumption that Solid Waste of Willits has provided for their purposes of their proposal, the Executive Office has reviewed and provided the overall benefits for privatization and the solid waste proposal for these key areas. Request for proposal for legal requirements as highlighted and provided to you in your exhibit with an opinion from County Council. The current and long-term structural liability on current site property, current and proposed staffing, ongoing administration oversight, current and potential revenue and expenditures, and then the potential savings through privatization practices and the long-term cost efficiencies in Mendocino County. I've highlighted these in the proposal and have gone into some detailed information regarding those. And the board can ask questions on those particular topics. But the bottom line is, just to make a long story short here, is the cost-benefit analysis actually provides information in a summary format that shows that the actual benefit for for the solid waste proposal today would generate a savings of $65,000 approximately in net county cost. Solid waste proposal did show that they would have over $200,000 in net county cost savings as they're proposing. But what didn't take into consideration was there was a pay-as-you-go insurance claim that has been going on for 5 years that will expire at the end of 2008-09, therefore reducing the solid waste division's net county cost by another $185,000, which I have stated in the summary. In addition to that, that net county cost savings of $65,000 may or may not be reduced or increased pending the outcome of any proposals coming forward from the waste management. In other words, they may have come in with more cost savings, or they may come in with more cost associated for administrative costs to assume those 3 sites, which could reduce that savings of $65,000. This is pending board action if they would like to see further information. I have given and provided alternatives in this proposal for the board to consider today. The CEO's office has not making one specific recommendation in this proposal. We have outlined several alternatives, which include the board considering improving the site at South Coast with direction to staff with additional revenue enhancements as proposed by Solid Waste Division in a future discussion, either through increased franchise fees as depicted in one of the exhibits, and it shows a calculation as to what that franchise fee would look at to reduce the help to reduce the net county cost. Gate fee increases, the combination of those or reductions in subsidies for what we are providing currently. I've highlighted that the Covelo site is currently being subsidized for $38,000, and I've also highlighted that any one of those combinations could help to reduce the net county cost as an alternative. Solid Waste Division would have to come back with also another alternative is Solid Waste Division could also come back and be directed by the board to report a summary on cost-saving measures to eliminate the net county cost. They had made some suggestions during our proposed budget, which identified, and may not be a popular decision, but that Boonville site had actually some inefficiencies because of some of the revenue that was generated, a loss of activity, and there was ways that they could probably reduce some net county costs there. That could be also consideration. Alternative 3 talks about it goes on to talk about the South Coast site basically as an alternative, and proposing that privatizing the South Coast site and accepting SWOW's proposal to make site improvements. However, Solid Waste of Willits did not provide the detailed explanation as to what kind of site improvements and whether they would take those site improvements, which would basically be for commercial hauling for the South Coast site, and take that savings that's for South Coast and actually utilize that to do the improvements on the site. It was also not stated whether or not in the future any of these savings that would help to benefit Solid Waste of Willits by doing the privatization at the South Coast site would be passed on to the consumer. It could be assumed that, but it wasn't stated. I've outlined in detail that if the South Coast site was taken over by Solid Waste of Willits, it would benefit the Solid Waste of Willits in the fact that their cost for hauling to Annapolis landfill versus the Potrero Hills landfill